Get your crunch on with Kuya Arnel's pork chicharrones. Crispy, airy, and exploding with flavor, this is the real deal snack you didn't know you needed. Grab yours on Amazon today.
Welcome to Why Did You? A podcast that celebrates the inspiring journeys of Filipinos across the globe. From mastering their expertise to overcoming powerful life experiences and succeeding in business, entertainment, sports, music, acting, and politics. These stories are filled with resilience, hope, and unstoppable Filipino spirit. Welcome to another episode of Why Did You, where we dive deep into the stories of Filipinos who refuse to be boxed in by challenges, labels, or expectations. Today, we have someone whose journey is a blueprint of courage. Kat, a Filipino medical doctor, a para powerlifter, a survivor, and a woman who turned adversity into strength. Kat, thank you for being here. Your journey isn't just about disability. It's about identity, resilience, and redefining what it means to rise again. Today, we want to explore you. Before the pain, beyond the labels, and ahead toward the future you're creating. Hi!
Hello
Doctor!
po.
At, kamusta po? Maraming salamat po dito sa inyong pag-guest. I'm sure there's so many people who will be inspired of your story.
Thank you.
Yes, welcome to the show. It's truly a privilege to have you here. But before we dive into your story, let's start a simple, how are you feeling today, doctor? And what does it feel to finally sit here and share a story with us? Welcome to Why Did You?
Well, today it's been a great day naman. I had a full couple of days trying to film content and as well as trying to edit. So I'm glad that I had a day to myself to just catch up with work. And
Oh.
of course with every interview, with every podcast guesting that I get, it
Mhm.
gives me so much joy talaga na I'm able
Oh.
to kind of be able to spread what it is my message to all to everyone who I can.
Yes, that's really true. Like at the moment I saw you on social media and I was so inspired right away because of the courage. Your heart is so big to accommodate all these things in the world.
Thank you.
Doctor, and you're a doctor. Yeah, let's dive in. Before all the achievements and the courage the world sees now, there was a version of the world hasn't met. Let's go
Mm.
back where your strength was first shaped. Who was Kat before your disability, before medicine, before powerlifting? Would you please describe your past self?
Well, there was no cat without a disability because I
Mm-hmm.
was born with it. I was born
Mm-hmm.
with arthrogryposis multiplex congenita. So it's a mouthful. So in a nutshell, it's a spinal cord problem. But I
Mm-hmm.
also was born with deformities sa feet. So I had to go through multiple surgeries and rehab so that I could actually gain some function. So to
Mm-hmm.
be able to walk na for like what, 5 steps and to be able to stand for about 30 seconds. It took me a long time talaga before I could be able to do that. So nung bata ako, I was in and out of the hospital. I had to go through operation, mga 5 operations. And then I
Mm-hmm.
had to go through rehab and therapy in connection with that so that I could be able to use my legs.
Doctor, let me just cut you off. When you were said yung bata ako, how
Mm.
old were you then when you had all those surgeries? And do you still remember it?
When I came out from my mom's womb,
Oh, okay.
I already had club feet. So my feet
Mm.
were, if these were normal feet, it would be like
Mm-hmm.
this.
Mm-hmm.
Mine were inward po.
Oh.
So at a young age, in order to get it to be in the typical way so that they could
Mm-hmm.
be functional, I had to go through a serial casting and an operation already at
Mm-hmm.
maybe in 2 weeks of my birth. So
Wow.
Because my disease is actually, kailangan pong intervention niya is really at an early age. So we have to catch it at an early age and try to do all the intervention while the bones are still malleable, we're while we're still
Growing.
able to form it in such a way na it will form and naturally develop into the adult form of the skeletal system. So
Imagine,
yeah, it
imagine what
was
you endured during that time. I know, syempre, hindi ba maalala yun, no? But the emotional impact sa
mm,
parents mo at that time. How many siblings did you have? I'm sorry, I
I
forgot to ask.
have 3 siblings. I was the middle child. I'm the
Oh,
middle
you're the middle
child.
child.
Yes. So I have an older sister and a younger brother.
Like I said, the emotional na your parents have to endure. Siyempre makita nila yung anak nila na that there are things needs to be corrected at that early stage na
Yeah.
dapat ang isipin lang is to take care, paarawan, makapaglaro. But on your condition and your situation at that time, you have to undergo such surgeries. So,
Well,
go
to
ahead.
tell you To tell you honestly, nung bata ako, I mean, I was just living my life. I was just playing around, trying different things, being curious, because that's how
Mhm.
kids were.
Yes,
I
yes.
didn't really have a super deep concept of a disability from the very start, but I knew that
Mhm.
I had like braces. I knew that I needed a wheelchair, but like the stigma and all the things that come with disability, I didn't, know it back then. I just knew that I was a kid who needed a wheelchair and needed
Yeah.
leg braces. So I was still very hyper, makulit akong bata. I was out there like trying every single thing that I could that my parents would let me. So like the like the emotional trauma was from my
Wasn't there.
parents was with them. I was just ooh, let's play.
Yes. Yes, because it seems everything is just normal, right?
Yeah,
Kasi
yeah.
we're growing like a typical kid.
Yeah,
Lumalaki,
yeah.
nasabik
That's
maglaro,
mm-mm.
curious about everything. How about your education when you're growing up, your elementary, high school?
So as I mentioned, I didn't have a really deep understanding of my disability in yung mga grade school years ko. It was
Mhm.
only up until like adolescence time na I was beginning to realize na oh, I'm so different from everyone. You know how we teens are. They want to fit in, want to belong. They don't really want to stand out. So I wasn't an excuse for that. I knew that I was different from the get go. That I had different ways of living my life. So
Mhm.
at the time ng mga teens ko, when you were slowly discovering what it was to get older, that was when nagfo-form na yung biases ko when it comes to my disability. Like,
Mhm.
um, because I grew up hearing no with not a lot of representation eh. I didn't grow up with a lot of stories with persons with disabilities because I was in a typical school, non-special education school. And then so I grew up with all the other kids who were non-disabled, but it was a good thing and a bad thing. A good thing kasi I was able to see na I can catch up with other people without disabilities. But it was also a bad thing because I wasn't exposed to the disabled community. And
Yes.
that lack of exposure got me to be scared of the
Mhm.
disability. So parang may internalized fear ako kanya as I was growing up. Because like I mentioned, the stories that I kept on hearing were kawawa, pity,
Kawawa. Oo
weakness,
nga.
parang as a kid, you didn't wanna be associated with that. So
Mhm.
that was how I was growing up.
Yeah, but at that early age, you exercise the spirit of courage.
Yeah.
Tapang, di ba? Actually, yung stigma of the Filipino culture, pag nakakita sila ng wheelchair, kawawa naman yan. Hindi yan makalakad, di ba? But in other countries, yeah, they have a special privilege, like especially here sa America. They have fundings that they receive. Atin, I don't know. No, I'm sure your parents or your family, they have to shoulder all the expenses for
Yeah.
your condition. But doctor, you went to med school.
Yes.
Imagine, 'di ba? And why medicine, Dr. Kat? Bakit pagdodoktor?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, I was really in and out of the hospital when I was a kid.
Uh,
So most of the time, my extracurriculars were rehab, PT, physical therapy. So I was the kid who was very excited, curious, wanted to learn about things, and then wanted to make friends. I talked to all the PTs who were there, and then I also like talking to the doctors. Being in that environment kind of sparked the idea na,
yeah.
hey, I want to learn. I want to also be on the other side of it. So that's why napako na at an early age na I wanted to go into medicine. So
Yeah,
parang yeah, all my career educational moves like going into a pre-med course and going to med
uh,
proper, they were all geared towards that goal.
yeah, the birth of your interest to medicine came
Mm,
from your own eyes because you experienced, you saw everything, the therapy, the surgeries, the procedures. That's why you became interested. And
yeah,
it's so moving because some people, they was just cry at the corner of the room, but you face it all. Of course, the support of your family, especially
of
your
course.
parents. And not only that, the financial aspect of your dream is not easy, right? In the
Yes,
Philippines, you really have to burden to pay for all those tuition fees. Not only tuition fees because of your special condition that you need all these wheelchairs and other stuff, and you have to be well off for you to achieve that kind of dream.
Craving something sweet, savory, and satisfying? Kuya Arnell's cooked sweet pork sausage is your new go-to. Fully cooked, perfectly seasoned, and made with love. Just heat, serve, and enjoy. Available now on Amazon. Taste the tradition.
Doctor, can you share the moment disability story and what survival looked like in those early days?
well, in those early days, as I mentioned, as a kid, I was really happy-go-lucky. It
Uh,
was not until adolescence,
uh,
high school, college, where I really got a good grasp of what stigma meant and what disability meant.
uh,
During that time, I really thought that the best way for me to survive was to try to fit in the only way that I knew best. So para hindi ako makita, para hindi ako spotlightan, 'di ba? So I
uh,
wanted to try to keep my head down. I tried to hide as much as possible things that I could that would remind people that I was disabled. So I tried to avoid my wheelchair even if it meant na mas mabagal ako maglakad, I couldn't keep up, or
uh,
I tried to make sure that my leg braces were not seen. So I was always wearing pants, never shorts, never dresses, because I didn't want them to see it. And
uh,
then, and yun yung last would be staying away from the disabled community kasi I
uh,
wanted to fit in eh. And my
yes.
peers were all non-disabled.
Yeah,
So,
actually, yun yung susunod kong tanong sa'yo eh, yung sub-question ko.
mm,
Yung mga friends mo, of course, yung mga, yung the best friends like we had during our adolescent years.
mm,
Siguro ang dami mong kaibigan.
meron naman. Yeah, I would say
Oo.
not like, whoa, dami, but I have a handful
Hindi
then.
kasi, kaya ako nasabi dahil ang sarap mong kausap eh, ang saya mo, you're always smiling and you're laughing. When you hear this kind of laugh that came from your heart, nakakatuwa eh. And I'm sure you're a very interesting person. Why? You're intellectual. You read so many books and I'm sure different perspective. Iba yung ideas mo eh, yung perceptions mo about life and things eh. Kaya ang masasabi ko is we're gonna learn a lot from you. Like whether you're disabled or not, I'm sure mas marami kang alam kaysa sa ordinaryong tao na walang interes sa kanilang buhay.
I would like to think that people are able to learn. People can be
Ah,
sponges. So they can also try to pick up a thing or two about different aspects in their life. So, to be honest, when I was younger, I was not this outspoken. I mean, as I mentioned, I wanted to fit in. I wanted to, try to not have disability in me. So I wasn't out and about openly discussing my feelings about disability. I was trying to be, nonchalant about it. So this whole the person that you are getting now, that's because of different things that geared towards my acceptance of
Yes.
my disability. Ngayon, napapag-usapan ko na siya. And it took a long time for me to get here. And the view, like, I didn't want to learn about my disability. I didn't want to learn about anything. Because of the acceptance, I got the acceptance ball rolling. That's when, namulat na din yung mata ko na I need to work with my disability and not against it.
Correct. Tama yung sinabi mo, Doc, eh. You have to work with your disability, not against it. Kasi, sinong tutulong, di ba? Kung hindi ikaw, kailangan mong, like you said, yung acceptance. How old were you? Yung sinasabi mo yung acceptance na.
Tell you honestly, it was not until I was 33 years old. Kasi, nung med school, I was still in that camp na, if I just hid my legs, tried to be as not disabled as I could, people would respect me, people would look at me with, ay, doktor siya. Parang, I was trying to show that I was thriving despite the disability. So parang, I was trying to say na, I'm so accomplished even with my disability. So ngayon, I'm in this new chapter of my life where I'm trying to say that I want to thrive with my disability. So this is also very uncharted territory for me.
Yes.
Being very vocal, talking about it openly, and educating others. Because I honestly don't know how people will react to disability. Because, diba, all along it's been taboo. We're not supposed to talk about it kasi it makes people uncomfortable. So, I'm here trying to make it as, as relatable as it can be to non-disabled people.
And not only that, Doc, nakita mo naman sa mga followers mo at saka sa dami na nag-react sa mga reels mo, I think that's one way that you could say that you've proven to yourself, right? Na I don't think that's pity, that's courage that we see in you whenever you post. And darating tayo dyan, especially sa para yung lifting competition na sinalihan mo. We'll get to that.
Crunchy, bold, irresistible. Habit crispy fried chicken skins brings the heat with real chicken and serious flavor. Low carb, high crunch. Snack smarter, snack habit. Find it now on Amazon.
What kept you fighting when everything felt heavy? Why did you continue moving forward despite the pain, the fear, and uncertainty, Doctor?
Well, for me, it's always this saying that my parents have taught me na pinako nila sa akin na, I am only dealt one set of cards my entire life. And now, it's your choice on how you want to play it. So, my parents have always been a believer of giving me autonomy, giving me the freedom to choose whatever it is that I wanted, my career choices, if I fall down, if I do. Pero, that autonomy gave me trust in myself. So, they trust na I can play my cards in the best way that I know, in the best way that I can. So, that's the trust na iniwan nila sa akin. And that's what's helping me move forward every day.
Yeah, ang galing ng parents mo eh. Yung love, the greatest of all of this is love. Of course, time, yung attention na given to you and to your siblings. I'm sure, ayoko sabihin they spend more time with you. I know equally they spend time, but if someone needs a little bit of time or a little bit of attention, pamilya eh. Pamilya natin to eh. Kaya
Yeah.
I'm sure yung mga parents mo, they're so proud of you when they see you, especially right now. You've
I hope
come
so.
such
I hope
yes,
so.
mom, dad. I'm sure you're so proud of your cat. Not only cat, Dr. Cat Hernandez. Yeah. You've come such a long way from that girl. Today you stand a medical doctor and a para power lifter and a voice of courage beyond disability. Let's talk about the woman you become, how you see your world today, and how the world sees you. As a medical doctor, how has your disability reshaped the way you see your patients, your profession, and the word healing?
Well, for me, I think I am blessed because I have
Mm-hmm.
a unique perspective on how I see medicine and the doctor patient encounter. So I'm a general practitioner by profession. What I like about having a disability together with being a doctor is that I have the perspective of both. So I know what it feels like to be a
Yes.
patient. I know what the anxieties, the fear, and all those feelings of jitteriness that you go into when you step into a hospital, not knowing what's going to happen. So I try to be mindful of that whenever I talk to someone, when I do my consults, when I do mental health sessions. So I always try to make sure that my patients feel at ease with me because I know what it feels to be
Uh-huh.
on that side na you don't know it eh. You don't know what's gonna happen. Let's be frank, you're kind of surrendering yourself to the medical field. I take my profession very seriously. I want to make sure that my patients know that they are cared for and not
Yes.
just me there to to heal them kasi not all diseases have cures. So I have learned to give hope, not just in the form of medicine, but in the form of connection or in the
Yes.
form of support groups. So it can go differently eh. Kasi sometimes as doctors, we kind of get stuck in oh, we need to cure this person. We need to give the person medicine. We need to treat them to make them well again. But at the end of the day, you can't always cure and treat everyone. But you can be there to make them feel seen, make them feel heard, and care for them. So that's how my disability has shaped what I believe as a doctor. Because that's how my doctors treated me. Eh. My
Yeah.
doctor treated me bata ako. They didn't know that there was a cure, but they were able to give me other forms of hope. Hope
Yes,
na
correct.
I can do other things. Na I don't
Yeah,
have to just sit and stand and wait lang for the cure so that my life can move forward.
the beauty with your medical practice is that you know how to deal with the diseases, the cure, but most of all, the empathy. You have that already. So you know how the patients feel, the anxiety, the hope, and especially, I keep on repeating this, the courage that you're giving to the patients to come and see you, to check them, and they know that they're getting the best medical advice and treatment because it came from you, from the person who healed herself first, who cured herself first, emotionally and of course physically, and you know what to do. Yeah. Doctor, how about para powerlifter? When
Mm.
did you start the interest about this?
Nung bata ako, my mom and my dad were always actually telling me to try sports. Kasi they wanted
Exercise.
me to be,
Be
actually,
active.
yun nga, they wanted me
Mm.
to be connected with the disabled community. Ako yung may
Mm.
ayaw. Because I was
Okay.
scared of the stigma. It was not until 2023 that
Uh-huh.
my partner actually she's arranged an entire meet and greet with the Southeast Asian team. Pero during that time, hindi kami nakita. So I thought it would end there. But then she decided to call Phil Spada, arrange a meet and greet with the powerlifting team. Kasi during that time, I was in my gym era. So the gym, yun nga, parang the closest sport would be powerlifting for me. So when I went into the training session during that one Sunday, I was really scared. Kasi it was my first time to really, be around so many people who had disabilities. So I was quiet for yung newest there. So I felt awkward. Pero, I was still trying to make friends, still trying to talk to them. Bigla na lang, Ate Adeline Dumapong, she's our bronze medalist. The Philippines bronze medalist in para powerlifting in the Paralympics. She asked me to, together with the coaches, they told me to go, let's see what you can do. Magbuhat ka for us. So nagbuhat ako. And then after that, I was hooked. I was hooked because it gives me strength. Powerlifting gives me strength. So I'm very reliant on my arms, my upper body to get around because I wheel my wheelchair. So in order to get far and go fast and do all the things that I wanted to do, I needed to make sure that my arms were good and my arms were strong enough to handle it. So powerlifting gave me that advantage. So now I can wheel much faster. I don't get tired. So that's why I stayed on for so long until now because, I love that I have the community, but I also like the benefit of being stronger than.
Doctor, let's go back. So you won in powerlifting competitions already, right? Could you please take us back on your first competition? I am really curious for you to tell us ano yung naramdaman mo when you were at the stage and you're about to lift that weight. Could you please tell us that story?
That was in January 2023. So that was before I became a national athlete. What they asked us to do, they told me that I needed to compete against non-disabled athletes. So that I could have some credit, parang meron akong track. Kasi in the Philippines, wala masyadong tournaments for para powerlifting. But there were a lot of tournaments for powerlifting. So what my coaches did in order to show na I really had the what it takes to be part of the national team. Sinali po ako sa event na yon with non-disabled athletes. So, of course, it was my first event. So, kapado, di ba? It was me and another person, another woman. And then it turns out na I was able to lift heavier than her. So I was able to get gold. So thank
Wow.
you.
Congratulations. Yun yung that's the spirit of it. Tok, wala akong masabi kung di ang galing eh. Ang galing ng puso eh.
Thank you. Thank you po.
Kompleto ka lahat. Sa pagiging matapang. No? What is the biggest misconception about PWDs that you want the world to finally let go of?
That would be, kasi a lot of people still think disability equals inability. So I don't think that's true. Disability is not. We all have our limitations. You, me, disabled, non-disabled people, we all have our own limitations. It just so happens that persons with disabilities need to have a different way of living as compared to other persons without disabilities. So it's just another way of seeing how we live that's different from others. Kaya parang whenever they keep on looking at disability in the lens na, ay, kawawa naman. The thing is, I want to show others that there is a way. There is a way to be able to live and to thrive and to have a productive life. And you don't need to fit the standards or the norms of what other people say. So parang for me, I believe that disability is not inability. It's just another way about going through life. And that will, you need to be able to exercise your creative thinking. Kasi the way we go through life is not as straightforward as those with those who have no disabilities. Kasi the world was built with them in mind, not persons with disabilities. So we have to adjust and adapt. And I hope even if we do that, we adjust and adapt, nakikita din pa rin yung mga ng ibang mga tao, yung mga lawmakers, change makers, policies, that, there is another group of people here who need accessibility and who deserve to have an inclusive society. Pero nga, we have to take into that account na hindi lang kami hanggang bahay lang. Hindi kami yung naging tinatago-tago lang. We are here, we also have the same dreams as people with no disabilities. We also want to be able to work. We want to be able to learn. We want to be able to provide. We want to have a family. So parang that's not, to people with no disabilities.
Yes.
It's a universal need for everyone. So parang I wish people would take that into account, that disability is just another way of living and it's not inability. So when we keep on thinking that way, wala na, hindi na tayo magagawa ng mga accessibility efforts.
Correct.
Diba? If we keep on thinking na, okay, hanggang bahay na sila, diba?
Tama po yung lahat ng sinabi niyo, Doc. Especially, look at behind you. Out of the box, ba? It doesn't mean na, you have disability, you're unable to do this, just have to stay at home. No, hindi po totoo yun. Yan, nakita po natin a very good example, Dr. Katrina Hernandez, medical doctor, para powerlifter, a blogger. I have seen you also dancing, using your wheelchair, and I'm so proud of you. Let me just share you this quick story, Doctor. I was in the Philippines last year, and I spoke with my father because he told me that, I have this group where they have disabilities like PWDs, as we term in the Philippines, right? And he spoke with this couple. Sabi ko, what do you mean couple? Nagkita sila. They were maybe their 60s, 65 years old already, and man and a woman, they met at PWD group meeting weekly, and they fell in love with each other. Ang sabi nila, meron kaming disability, but pwede rin naman kami ma-in love. Would you imagine? Like, tulad nga ng sabi mo, doctor, we're just the same. Parehas naman talaga ng people without disability. Ano lang talaga, yung how people construe, like you said, the stigma of the culture. Doon ang nagkakaiba. And I am so glad you shared us that story. And wala na akong masabi kung di always courage, kasi talagang hinahangaan ko po talaga, doctor, yung being courageous ninyo Dahil when I saw you on your reels, make people happy.
Thank you.
Bakit? Dahil I felt delighted when I saw you. Hindi sumusuko, yung tao na ang iniisip niya, she doesn't care about what people thinks. Iniisip niya, how am I going to do this? Pupunta ka lang ng med school, napakahirap pumasok tas natapos mo pa. And now you're practicing. For other people, it's so difficult to lift like 50 pounds, 70 pounds, 100 pounds. But ikaw, you even competed and you won gold medals and other medals. Not only in the Philippines, but in the international settings already. Kaya sabi ko, yung family mo, they are seeing the results, the fruit of their labor and your labor too. They're seeing them right now. With everything you've survived and achieved, the future must look different. Maybe clearer, maybe bigger, or maybe more purpose-driven. Let's talk about the vision that keeps you moving. When you think of your future, both as a doctor and an athlete, what vision inspires you to keep going?
To be honest, yung vision na nakikita ko actually is towards that little girl, towards me as a little girl. I the way that I'm trying to offer. I'm trying to show and offer to other people that a different narrative from what I was used to, na kawawa, pity, weakness, na I want, kaya nakikita ko yung sarili ko as a vision, as the younger self. Because I want to be able to inspire and to change that narrative for people who will come after me. The people, the kids, and the parents who thought na, ay, ko. I want to be able to offer them a different story. The disability, yes, it can have challenges, but it's not all doom and gloom. Na it's not just hindi lang siya something to be sad about, but it's also something that you can celebrate.
If the future Kat could hear you right now, what message of strength and hope would you want to send her?
Future cut. I'm still here and I'm still going to try.
Yes. Ling. I just want to ask you this. With everything that you've been through, since you were a kid, you were in elementary, high school, your med school, in your entire life, if there's this one person that you would like to say thank you to, who is that?
One
And
person
why?
lang. One
People.
person lang.
People.
It would have to be my family. Collectively, one person. It would have to be my family. They showed me that I am enough. They showed me that I am enough, and they were able to give me that support. Na, kasi some parents, they want to change their kids so that they can fit into the world, or that they want to change the world for their kids. Right? That's not possible. My parents, I'm glad and I'm proud that they were able to just teach me that I can live just as who I am, and I can strive to be who I am and wear it proudly. And if, let's say, the world is not ready for that, whatever happens when I come back to the house, when I come back home, they provided me a place to land. They told me na, and they reminded me that whatever happens, you're enough, just as you are. And I think all children need to hear that, with or without disabilities. Kasi so many children are hiding who they really are in the shell of, they're not letting their gift or their personality shine. When, I think the world would be a little bit better if we stopped, trying to hide and just exist as who we are, unapologetically.
Any last message to our viewers and listeners? Please go ahead.
I want to leave you with this. If you encounter someone with a disability, I hope that you can take a pause, step back, talk to us, and listen to us. Listen to our story and try to suspend whatever judgment or the stories that you have playing already in your mind. And just listen to how each person's story is unique. So just take a step back and listen, because who knows, baka very, it could be very enlightening, but it could be very, we can make connections, you can have friends. So I just want everyone to suspend the judgment, because to tell you honestly, the disability is not as bad. And what's harder is actually the stigma. So if we are able to suspend the stigma, suspend the judgment, and make connections, then, it would be better for all of us.
Okay. Thank you very much for that wonderful message to each and every one of us who's listening. And please follow Kat Out of the Box to her social media, Facebook and Instagram.
Yes,
And
please.
I'm telling you, you're going to be moved. You're going to be motivated. And when you wake up the following day, you're gonna tell yourself, marami pala akong dapat gawin sa buhay ko. Dr. Kat, thank you very much. And I really appreciate your time. I really
Mm.
appreciate the story and the journey.
Thank you po,
Maraming salamat
man.
po. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And that wraps up for another powerful conversation with Kat out of the box. A woman who continues to break limits, defy expectations, and rewrite what courage looks like. Her story reminds us that disability doesn't define destiny. Share the story, share the inspiration, share the reminder that everyone has a fight and everyone has a chance to rise above it. Thank you for joining us. This is Why Did You? And this is Cat Out of the Box. And remember, the world becomes bigger the moment you step out of the box. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to Why Did You? I hope today's story inspired you and reminded you of the heart and spirit behind every Filipino journey. This podcast is brought to you by RR Food Ventures Corporation, makers of Kuya Arnel's Cooked Sweet Pork Sausage, Kuya Arnel's Pork Chicharrones, Habit Crispy Fried Chicken Skins, and Habit Pork Cracklings. Technical support and music by Gabby Arrieta. Once again, this is Arnel Arrieta, and you just listened to Why Did You? Until next time! Classic never tasted this good. Habit Pork Cracklings delivers that old school crunch with modern flavor. No fluff, just crispy, protein-packed perfection. Hit it up on Amazon and stock up now.